Welcome and thank you for joining us for this Rogers update. My name is Tina Avery. Joining us today, we have Kolleen Sykes from the Dufferin Parent Support Network. She is a parenting workshop facilitator. Kolleen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure, Tina.
Okay, let's start by talking about what the Dufferin Parent Support Network, what services they offered prior to COVID-19.
So Dufferin Parent Support Network has been serving the area for about 20 years, and we offer parent-to-parent workshops, parenting workshops, and we offer them live in class, like in person.
Okay, so obviously that has changed with all of the regulations through the pandemic. So how are you able, what type of services are you offering now? And I'm assuming they are virtual or online.
Yes, so we are continuing to offer parenting workshops, and we're offering them via Zoom. So you still have the interaction with the facilitator and the parents. You can still get beneficial parenting information, and it's just being done online now instead of in class. And we have a great variety of topics. In fact, coming up, we have next June 11th, we have one on self-regulation. And then we have one on June 18th on self-care for parents. And then the following week, we have one for parents who have multiple children, so siblings without rivalry.
Well, that sounds like a good one for sure, because I have more than one. So there's always been that. And being in the situation we're in now, sharing a lot more space for a lot longer periods of time, I can imagine that there's probably more sibling rivalry between siblings. So let's talk about the feelings that people can have with regards to, being in the house all together. And every day you can wake up in a completely different mood. It's really affecting how people are feeling. Can you tell us some things that we may not realize, but maybe affecting our moods and sometimes why we wake up and we don't quite feel ourselves?
Well, that's a really good question, Tina. There are actually lots of things that we may not be aware of that are affecting our mood, even prior to COVID. But with regard to COVID, things that we're viewing in the media, all of the talk and all the hype and all of the, there's, 400 new cases in Canada, or there's there's new cases, there's, the different changes that are happening with regard to restrictions that are placed upon us, to keep us safe and to do, social distancing. So the things we're consuming in the media can actually be impacting our mood because it's all new, right? Especially when things are all new, the unknown can be very scary. What we're eating actually can be affecting our mood. Sugar and foods that are not necessarily good for us, they can affect people more than others, depending upon your body chemistry. So just the things that we're consuming could actually be impacting our mood. If we're getting enough sleep, how much sleep are we getting? If having the kids home and, maybe we're feeling more pressure that, I need to get less sleep because I need to get more done, when they've gone to bed or things like that, that actually can have a negative impact upon our mood. And we don't really realize that we're kind of burning ourselves out. Pressures or expectations, having our kids home, maybe working from home, maybe being laid off, that can be, nagging us in the back of our mind and affecting our mood and causing greater anxiety. So kind of, being aware of the stress and pressures and expectations that we are taking on, whether we think that, whether we're putting them on ourselves or we believe others are putting on us, that can really impact our mood and how we're handling the situation.
Absolutely. And I think that we don't realize, just what you're saying, even just the amount of exercise or the weather in the day can automatically just affect how you're feeling. And I don't even know if we contribute that as a society to how we're feeling. We just wake up and, I'm in a bad mood today. And, you just say, okay, I'm in a bad mood today, just accept it. But we don't really sit back to analyze and look at how we're feeling about things or why we could possibly be feeling these types of things. So that's great information that you've given us, because now maybe when we do wake up like that, or our mood shift partway through the day, we're wondering why. These are just ways we can analyze it and look what we're doing, because it affects our mental health as well as our physical health. for sure.
Yeah. When we're not aware of things, they can eat away at us, like you said, and it does affect our mental health and how we're handling the day. And so it's really, the really important thing is being self-aware of what's going on in your life and how it's impacting you.
And one of the important things I think that I bring different guests on and to really talk about, and as we're going into 10 weeks of being during this pandemic and being at home, and many people have lost their jobs, are working from home, have to school their children from home. There's all these things that are changing, and we're always looking at that media, finding out what daily updates we have and that sort of thing. And that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety specifically. Are there tips, like easy tips for people to recognize when they're feeling that and what they might be able to do to help control the stress and anxiety that they're feeling?
So actually there's mental, physical, emotional, but behavioral changes that we can see when we're feeling stressed and anxiety and anxious. And so it's important to just be kind of aware of yourself and what is kind of your normal. And then, are things different? Are you feeling more anxious? Are you being forgetful? Are you twirling your hair or biting your nails? Do you see these behaviors in your children? Are you forgetting a lot of things and getting really frustrated that you're forgetting a lot of things, or having poor concentration? So there's many signs, and it's important to recognize that, it's not just behavioral, it's not just emotional, it's not just physical, it's not just it's not just one way, and for each person it will be different depending upon how their body reacts to stress and anxiety. Even just being more tense, like feeling like, oh, my muscles are all like, I'm just feeling tense, my muscles, my jaw is clenched, or I'm sweating more, or my heart's racing. So just being aware of the things that happen when you're not feeling calm. So it is important to recognize the signs, and then things that you can do to alleviate the stress or to deal with the stress. Breathing techniques, just realizing, oh, I'm really stressed. Okay, I need to calm down. Or and modeling these things for our children, because our children will do what they see. So if they see that we're stressed, often they take on our stress, or they start to feel anxious because they realize, okay, mom or dad's not calm. So if we recognize it in ourselves, just by role modeling, we're helping them deal with their stress and anxiety in healthy ways. So breathing techniques, just say, okay, my heart's racing, my breathing is more shallow, I'm not getting deep breaths. So stopping yourself and just taking cleansing breaths, breathing deeply, or counting to 10, doing it 10 times. So that's one easy way that we can start to bring ourselves down from feeling stressed or feeling anxious. Journaling. I mean, it's not always possible, especially if you have little ones, but even at night, journaling, what your day was like, how you were feeling about different things, getting your feelings out so that you're dealing with them and you're not carrying them on to the next day. Going for a walk, going out in nature, just a change of scenery. I mean, the great thing is that during this pandemic, we can get outside. We need to be socially distanced, but we can get outside, even if it's just going in your own yard or just, going on the driveway or something. Just a change of scenery, a change of activity to give yourself and to give your kids a break. Again, you're role modeling healthy ways of dealing with the stress and anxiety. Exercising or dancing, put on some music that everyone likes and just start dancing and have fun together. Having fun together is a great stress releaser, and just saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious, they're feeling anxious. What's something just silly and fun that we can do to just break the tension? So dancing, just doing exercises, getting a skipping rope and, skipping together, kind of things that we used to do when we were kids. Draw hopscotch on the driveway and play hopscotch with your kids, or, just fun activities, going for a nature walk, going and, saying, hey, who can spot 5 different leaves, or, what colors of flowers do we see, and getting your children engaged in it. Seeing birds, oh, I hear a bird, can we find where it is? So doing things like that can help you to de-stress and to deal with the anxiety. Or if you can't get outside, coloring or painting, get out the paints and, set up a cloth, a cloth on the table, maybe drop cloth on the floor and do some painting or, do some coloring or do something creative to kind of break the stress and break the tension. Even, if your kids are feeling anxious, get them to draw if they like to draw, because not all kids like to draw, but if they do, you make a picture of how they're feeling and then talk about it. So these are all helpful things we can do. Or even just in the moment, name 3 things that you smell, see, and feel. And, just to be more present and self-aware in the moment. So that you're focusing on the moment and maybe not the other thing that's distracting you. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do. Talk to a friend. If your kids, you have little kids and you're really kind of stressed out, talk to a friend who's a good listener, and isn't necessarily going to tell you what to do, but a friend who's a good listener and will, kind of meet you in the moment and just say, oh, like, wow, that sounds really stressful, or that sounds really challenging. And so if you have any friends or family members who you can talk to or even just to talk to them to get your mind off of what's going on or to distract you. Distraction's a really good thing as well, especially if you're feeling anxious and feeling uptight and you just kind of need to be distracted so that you can kind of calm down and think about, okay, what's really happening? Because at the end of the day, after all of these things are said and done, it's important to understand the things that are causing you stress and worry and anxiety. But you first need to get yourself in a calm place before you can do that. And that's the key thing. It's not about dismissing the feelings. It's about understanding where they're coming from. But you need to be kind of calm and to be able to actually think about it. And, talking it out is a really great thing, even just with your kids, depending upon the age of your kids, you can say, you know what, I'm feeling really stressed because, I have this work thing that I need to do, and I can see that you would like some of my time and attention. Is there something let's make up a plan so that, maybe I'm working on my project for half an hour, and then in half an hour, you guys have something set up for us to play together. Maybe we can play a board game, or maybe, we can go for a walk, and you kind of have a plan. It's like, okay, I'm feeling this way. This isn't good for me. It isn't good for the kids. And again, you're talking it out with them, or even having them talk to you about the things they're feeling. Maybe they're missing their friends. Maybe there's a birthday party that they were going to be going to and they're not going to. Maybe it's their birthday and they're not going to have a party like they were hoping for. So what is something that they can do, right? To celebrate and make it fun and get them engaged in solving this problem in a healthy way. So there's lots of things that you can do, even just stretching exercises. Some people would say yoga and stretching exercises, just things, knitting, reading, taking up a hobby. So there's lots of things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you for providing all of this great information on ways to deal with stress and anxiety, to help our mental health. And I really want you to thank you for taking the time for joining us today.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Start talking about Celebrate Your Awesome. Let's talk about what Celebrate Your Awesome was previous to COVID-19.
Let's leave that one up to Jim. You go, Jim.
Well, of course. Well, you know what? We were really, really excited, obviously, to have this year's festival going to be celebrated on Mill Street on the 27th of June. Unfortunately, the momentum that we had started, this would be our 3rd year. The first year, unfortunately, we had a little bit of rain, but that's okay. People still came out. The second year, it was it blew us all away. We had probably over 5,000 people there. We had tons of support from our community, from all levels of our government. It was amazing. And our downtown decorated themselves. They were really, really supportive. We had so much going on. We had so many events. We had so much live entertainment. As you know, in our community, we probably have the best entertainment in Ontario. But anyway, we won't go there. There was so much happening. The ball was rolling, and the momentum was definitely there. And again, it's the awareness. It was that awareness for diversity. It was that awareness for inclusion. And yes, we want to celebrate Pride. We want to highlight that whole LGBT, 2+ community. But at the same time, we want to include everyone. And I think that's the focus of Celebrate Your Awesome, is that it is an inclusive event where we don't segregate individuals. We bring them all together, and we collaborate. And I hate to say it, this COVID-19 is a perfect example of that. We are coming together as a community, and so we couldn't drop the ball. We had to continue. We had to keep the momentum going. And so June 27th of this year will be a virtual Celebrate Your Awesome. And I think to speak to that would be Lisa. Is that a good segue, Tina?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Jim. Lisa, tell us about how the pandemic has affected Celebrate Your Awesome, and we're doing something virtual. Let's talk about everything that's going on.
Well, Jim said it exactly right. We had such a great momentum going with the first 2 years of Celebrate Your Awesome. We brought a different vibe to the community that's ever been there before, and it was a vibe of inclusion, and it was awesome. So we really didn't want to let that momentum go. Obviously, the pandemic has changed the way that we live our lives right now, and we're not able to gather in big groups. So we had to make the tough but necessary decision to cancel our in-person event, but we weren't going to let that stop us. So we've made the decision as a committee to move forward into a virtual event. So with this virtual event, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces from our previous years of Celebrate Your Awesome, and some new ones who were going to be a part of this year, but unfortunately weren't able to perform live. So throughout the day on our Celebrate Your Awesome Facebook page, you're going to see pre-submitted videos from some amazing local entertainers who are going to be sharing their messages of pride and inclusion and all sorts of good stuff. And then the evening, we're wrapping it up with a live house party, Celebrate Your Awesome house party. So the vibe is going to be awesome. We're going to be having we've got DJ Soundquest and team coming to help us out with that, and it's just going to be fabulous.
That sounds amazing. Jim has something to say. Let's go back to Jim.
Just a little add to that evening. I'm not, of course, the ladies are handling this. I'm not the tech savvy dude. So fortunately we have Lisa and we have Julie who are doing most of this preparation. But I did want to add that when you're talking about the Soundquest, that we also have one of our own committee members who will be co-hosting.
That's right.
I think we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. It'll be a surprise for the evening. So we want everybody to have fun and be prided up, be awesome. So be ready to go, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be such a great evening.
For sure. So let's talk. I mean, there in the past few years, the town of Orangeville, as well as the Orangeville Police Service, has always shown support and has risen a rainbow flag in celebration of Pride Month for June. But recently, just a day or so ago, depending on when you're watching the show, the County of Dufferin has declared June 2020 Pride Month for the entire County of Dufferin, and also raised a flag. So can you tell us, what does that mean to the community?
Go ahead, Jim.
Absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Again, in any business, you look for marketing, you look for promotional material, you look to provide awareness, and what better way to do it than at the top? I mean, the County of Dufferin has come together as a committee. They voted unanimously in support. Kudos to, of course, Lisa, who was the delegate that day to make the proclamation, brought it forward, and again, it was unanimously decided. So people were really, really excited about that. And again, right across Dufferin, I will tell you that we have support right through the community, whether it be up in the Shelburne area or Grand Valley Way or, Amaranth. All these places are absolutely, just overwhelmed with the fact that, guess what? It is here. It's a reality. It's now part of our community. And I think, again, that's the most important part, is that we have brought even another step of awareness. I would like to add, when you're talking about raising the flags, that, DCAF has their flag up. There are, even though schools are closed, schools have flags up. They are supporting, they are part of this overall movement. And even MAUD, all right, the Museum of Dufferin, which, by the way, now archives everything to do with Celebrate Your Awesome, as well as the LGBTQ2+ community in Dufferin.
That is absolutely amazing. And we do know we live in a wonderful community, and the support is growing and growing, which I think is absolutely awesome. So let's talk about the rainbow flag. Let's talk about the significance of the flag and what it means.
So the rainbow flag, to me anyways, as an ally, is an absolute sign of inclusion and safety. I know in speaking to a lot of the youth in our community, when they see their school flying a rainbow flag, they know that they're in a safe place. So the more, especially public government buildings and other buildings like that we have showing that sign of inclusion, is just another way that we can show that we're an inclusive community, that everybody can feel safe, that you don't need to leave to find a safe place when you're growing up as an LGBTQ youth, that your community accepts you for who you are and is celebrating every single thing about you that makes you awesome.
And we hope that more and more people and buildings will support and fly the flag in support of this diversity and inclusion. Absolutely. So let's go a little bit into the history. I don't want to spend too long because we do have to make sure we're covering about all these exciting events that are coming up. But can you give us a little bit of a look at how Pride Month and when it began?
If I could just add to that previous comment, sorry, and it'll be very brief. I posted the information about Dufferin being inclusive this year on the Rainbow Ridge Facebook page. There was a 76-year-old woman that was almost in tears, that she was so happy that this had come to a reality for her. So it's the youth and it's our community building, but wow, the seniors are going, finally. Sorry.
So Pride Month is celebrated in June. Just for a really quick history lesson, the Pride Month is celebrated in June because this year is actually the 51st anniversary of the Stonewall riots. And the Stonewall riots were one of the very first rioting liberation movements for the LGBTQ community. So it was what started that whole movement happening. It's what started the awareness piece. And because those Stonewall riots happened in June, that's why Pride Month is celebrated in June, and why we chose to celebrate Your Awesome in June.
And originally, of course, in Toronto, the Pride Parade was a protest. It was a stand-up movement, a very peaceful and a very positive one. And look where it is today.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Each year, each day, each hour, we move in strides towards acceptance and celebration of diversity and inclusion. So to all those that are already doing it, cheers to you. And to all those that are waiting to do it, there's no time like the present. But now I want to get into some exciting news. So June being Pride Month, please tell me about some of the other events that will be happening weekly, building up to the house party on the 27th.
Okay, so we've partnered with some really great local businesses for some amazing prizes. So what we're trying to do is really keep that theme of pride and inclusion and awesome going throughout the whole month. It's a little different now that we can't have our in-person events, and it felt a little strange raising the flag without a group of people this year, but I'm still so glad we were able to do it. So we're trying to keep that momentum going online. So on the Celebrate Your Awesome Facebook page, if you follow along, weekly, we're going to be posting various different things, contests, ways to win prizes that are all celebrating inclusion. So for this week, for example, we're asking you to awesome up your house. So decorate your home, your living space in whatever it is that feels awesome to you. If that's rainbow flags, if that's sunshine, if it's hearts, if it's whatever it is, if it's something cultural, or hang a flag, go outside, have your kids do some rainbow art on the sidewalks, whatever that may be. Post a picture of it on our comments on our Facebook page, and you can win a $260 barbecue pack that's been donated to us by Deja Vu Diner, which is fantastic. Coming up next week and the week after, we've got some other contests going on, opportunities to win prizes from more great local businesses. And the theme is all inclusion. So we're going to be asking you what inclusion and diversity means to you, how you celebrate your awesome, what it is about your family or you that makes you unique or different that you want celebrated. And then, of course, the night of, we're going to have some house party events. So there's going to be some dance contests and costume contests and all sorts of things that Pride would normally be and that Celebrate Your Awesome would normally be in person.
Well, that sounds like so much fun. I'm
fun.
thrilled. So this will start to air, and so make sure. So the week of celebrating and making your house just awesome may have already passed by, but please do still do it and post the pictures, and then be checking the Facebook page for the weekly contests leading up to. So as I understand it, we've got about a minute and a half left. So as I understand it, people can submit videos. Are you looking for people to submit videos in support for the house party?
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, actually, we have two letters that are being distributed. One is for a sort of an inspirational message. One that what do you feel as being pride and diversity and inclusion in your community? And then the other is, hey, if you have a talent, if you're a dancer, a singer, a musician, and you'd like to submit a video clip, we would love to have it. So if you haven't received an email or a letter, by all means, contact someone on Celebrate Your Awesome page and see if they will send you that letter, and you could also be included. Again, submissions need to be done, I think, Lisa, the 20th. Is that correct?
I think so. I don't have the letter in front of me, Jim, but yeah, it's something like that. And through our entire committee is going through and having a peek at them. I just need to give a quick shout out to our entire committee who has really stepped up to the plate, and we've had to do things in such a different way. So we're meeting weekly on Zoom, and they have just been such a fantastic group of people. There's no better people we could be doing this with. So thank you to the Celebrate Your Awesome committee for making our community a more inclusive place to be.
As you see, Lisa's wearing a Celebrate Your Awesome t-shirt today. I have a t-shirt on that says "No one deserves to live in the closet." And also, please note that we have t-shirts for sale, and they are at Healing Moon, and they're $20 each. And we'd love to have everyone purchase one.
Awesome. Awesome is the word of the day. Absolutely. So thank you, Jim and Lisa, so much for joining us and sharing all this great information. And I can't wait to see the house party on the 27th and everything that's happening in between. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
David, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Oh, thank you, Tina. It's not like I don't have a fair bit of time on my hands, so I'm more than to chat.
Wonderful. You recently made an announcement with regards to the season that was still kind of pending for Theatre Orangeville. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we had, as everyone knows, our last play of the season, the New Canadian Curling Club, which is a marvelous comedy by Mark Crawford, was to close our season. And of course, given what the state of the world is these days, we felt, of course, we couldn't do that. Theater is still closed. Actually, Tina, the set from the previous show, Too Close to Home, is still on stage. It's a little bit weird. I've been into the theater once or twice and seen the set, and it takes my breath away because I'm expecting the actors to come walking on stage. But we felt that it would be wouldn't be prudent or safe. It's all about safety. Our patrons, the health and safety of our patrons and our artists and our staff has to be our primary, and it will always be our concern. And therefore, it just wasn't prudent to move forward with the production in August. We're developing plans for season, whenever that is and whatever that looks like. Whether it's in September as scheduled, or Christmas, or as this wears on. So we're preparing for all contingencies, and so people can. A lot of people have deferred that the price of what they paid for the tickets towards next year, or as a donation to the theater, or lots of different options. But yeah, it was disappointing news, but let's be honest, it's not unexpected, given that our industry, whether it be music, dance, movies, going to see a movie, going to a hockey game, going to a lacrosse game. These are all going to be the last that come back as people gather in large groups. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and we're all excited for when the day comes that we can go back into the theater for sure. But the safety is, as you said, the utmost of the priorities when it comes when the announcement will be ready to go.
It'll be public health, and the town and provincial government I'm sure will have very strict mandates and edicts as well. They should. We'll be looking to them for guidance as to how we make the theater safe for patrons, for volunteers, ushers, for everyone. And we'll find out in the next few months, I'm sure, what that scenario will look like.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, like many of the businesses that I've spoken to and the not-for-profits, there are committees and contingency plans for all different aspects, because really this is a fluid situation. It changes daily. Is that the same for the theater as well?
Oh, absolutely. It changes every day. Well, not quite every day. I mean, we've prepared, I think, 4 or 5 different scenarios now as to when we can start. As I said, whether it's time of the year it's going to be. God willing, we're going to be able to start in late September, early October. If that's not the case, then we'll play Plan B, or as we sort of move through that cycle. But that's the way it has to be. It's the way it should be. It's the way it must be, and it's the way we will do it. Just say again, make sure that everyone enjoys the experience, but that it's a safe experience. So.
Well, you have adapted through COVID-19, and you have some online workshops available. So can you tell us a little bit about what's been happening with those?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We've moved all of our youth academy programming and some of our adult program online. They've been hugely popular, hugely successful. We've had Mark Crawford, who people know he is the playwright of the New Canadian Curling Club, but Stag and Doe and the Birds and the Bees, plays of Mark's that we've done in the past. Very, very funny writer. He's been conducting a 4-week-long playwriting workshop. We've had theater games for younger children, monologues, audition technique. We're starting a whole new series next week of programs. We've been doing this for about the last month now, Tina. So new programs are coming on. Our neurodiverse program, our TOPE and our Creative Partners on Stage programs, they're online. So it's I mean, we'll see what the future brings in terms of how we pursue. I mean, at the moment they feel just like they're exceptional experiences, but there's nothing beats life. Nothing beats being in the room with a group of creative young people, adults, whatever it is, and actually doing something live. And that's where the real power lies. But I'm really thrilled and pleased with how well it has transferred in this kind of Hollywood Squares format. It really has been very, very effective and very creative.
And I think one of the silver linings to anything that the theater may be going through is the fact that with these online workshops, people can participate all across Canada. You don't have to be in the room to participate and to be able to take advantage of the knowledge that's being shared.
Absolutely. We, you don't have to be here in Orangeville. In the playwriting workshop, I think there's somebody from Winnipeg, someone from Sudbury. And so that'd be really neat to be able to bring people, as you say, from across the country together to experience what Theatre Orangeville experience is, right? So that's been hugely exciting and hugely and great fun. Yeah.
So I understand starting next week, you have a character development workshop. What's that? Can you give us just a couple words about what that's all about?
Well, I wish I could. Chandra Pepper is the instructor on that one, and it's always a fun and crazy sort of time as to what that is. All of the experience that we're doing are really about skill set acquisition, right? It's not about performance because it's difficult in this venue. So it's about people, whether it's a program like with Chandra's where there might be a little more experience behind it, skill set of improv or any of those kind of components. We're really trying to provide a broad palette of experience, of levels of experience. And I think that's beneficial too. So Chandra's a wacko and a brilliant artist, and as are all people who work for us. So it's going to be a fun time. That's for sure. It'll be pretty crazy.
And it really caught my interest. Now, this is not something that I would pursue, but this could be of a lot of interest to some people. You're doing an intro to lighting and sound, which is kind of a back end look at what happens and how that works. And who's hosting that workshop?
Yeah, well, Dan Palmieri, who is our assistant technical director, Dan has developed this program. It's really exciting. I'm going to take it myself. Because while I know a fair little bit about lighting, I don't know an awful lot about sound production, and so I'm going to sit on those sessions myself. Registered for them. I'm going to sit in on those. But we've never done that before. We've done apprenticeships where people come into the theater and learn sort of one-on-one, but we've never put it online. Dan's got a really very comprehensive and very he's a fascinating and interesting guy, and he really knows his stuff. He's very, very, very. So I think we're going to be touching on lighting design, sound design, different instruments. It's really it's as you say, it's an intro. So for anybody who's ever been interested in, wow, I wonder how those lights work, or I wonder how they make that sound effect, or any of that kind of stuff, it's perfect for that. For folks who might have always been interested but have never really had enough to experience from a professional. Dan's a fully trained. He does a lot of our sound design. When you come to the Orangeville show, a great deal of the soundscape, or if it's crickets or dogs barking or any of that great stuff, that's all his creative genius at work there. So it's going to be a really, really neat experience.
Wonderful. So I have been receiving and seeing people comment on weekly emails that have been coming out from Theatre Orangeville. Can you tell us, I was totally excited with the addition of Cocktail of the Week. So tell us a little bit about what's coming out every Friday, and hopefully most people are receiving it, but if they're not, they'll be able to get on the list.
Well, or they can go to Facebook. It's on our Facebook page. It's released through our Theatre Orangeville Facebook page. So really, really check it out. It's a lot of fun. Tina, and I'm sure, as everybody's been saying, I'm sure all the businesses that you've been to today and everything, is that we're all looking for the joy in our lives. We're all looking for those things around us that give joy and that engage our patrons, our ticket buyers, our customers, if it's a restaurant or whatever. We want to be, there's enough doom and gloom out there in the world right now. We need to engage through joy. So that's what the focus of these things is. There is a playlist staff, our Theatre Orangeville staff, and we invite patrons or people who are checking us out to submit a tune. So there's a weekly playlist on Spotify, which is really great. There's a recipe of the week. One of our staff members, their drumstick ice cream cake or a fennel slaw, or there's been lots of great recipes, and also great links to other events, performances through Stratford National Theatre, Patrick Stewart reading poetry, all kinds of really great arts experiences to enjoy. And I do a little feature. We also have a thing called Ask the Expert. So if you've ever had a question about, I think the first one that Lisa LeHue did was about costumes. Where do the costumes go? Where do we get them? So if people have questions, we encourage them to submit that. And I do a feature, kind of a cocktail of the week. So I do it Lisa, my wife, on the iPhone, and I make a drink every week and try to keep them a little bit weird and wacky and a little bit different, and maybe a little bit of a different take. So that's fun too. And it's been getting the whole package, not just the drinks or anything, but the whole package has been getting fantastic feedback, great response, and people really seem to enjoy it. It's also a great opportunity for us to do a little bit of a shout out to our sponsors and to businesses here in town that support Theatre Orangeville, and businesses that we want to support because they're doing phenomenal jobs of, keeping us safe, keeping us healthy, keeping us fed, keeping us happy, and still making not just the downtown, but all of Orangeville a vibrant and the very vibrancy and dynamic component of the community that we always have been and always will be. And so that's what it is. So check it out. Go to our Facebook page, or if you're or you subscribe onto the way, and it'll just come to you automatically every Friday. But you will have great fun with it. It's and there's a cross or a puzzle. Sometimes it's a crossword puzzle, or we've had sort of jumbles and sort of jigsaw puzzle kind of components. So there's a lot of stuff there for all kinds of people. So it's great fun.
Absolutely. And if you want to subscribe to this newsletter, check it out at www.theatreorangeville.ca. Scroll down to the bottom. I already checked this out ahead of time. On the bottom left-hand corner, it says, I want to sign up for the newsletter. Sign up so that you can celebrate the joy of the arts every week with Theatre Orangeville and everyone already on this list. So, David, we've got about a minute left. So let's talk about what you're doing when you're not making all these contingency plans and doing workshops with playwrights and doing all that. What are you doing to stay sane these days?
What am I doing? Well, I'm fortunate, Tina, in that I'm still working. And that always gives me joy. It's full days. This is not a vacation. These are full days. But that having been said, we've been living in our house for 18 years, and I've never had really, I guess, the time to garden. So the gardens look fantastic. I'm growing vegetables, and it only took me 15 years to get the bird up in the front lawn there that I had promised my wife 15 years ago I would put up. We're doing a lot of walking, a lot of cooking, like everyone else. We're just sort of enjoying time together in company, our own company. We were doing a lot of Zoom dinners and get-togethers with friends. So I don't know if people out there, if anyone uses that technology, but it's a great way to get together. We have a regular group on Sunday night. We bring in a friend from New York and a friend from across the country, and we all sit and have dinner together. And it's, you can have a glass of wine and not worry about driving home. And but that's great fun too.
Thank you so much, Pamela, for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a dream come true. I love being here and seeing you and being a part of it. So thank you for having me.
So Pam, you are the owner of Music Together here in Orangeville. So let's start talking about the services that you were providing prior to COVID-19.
So prior to COVID-19, we had a pretty cool offering across the board. It started with a mixed age class. So it's a music class for children from 0 to 5 and their parent or parents or grandparent or their adult, whoever their adult is, on any given day. So we have a wide variety of people in the class, and we always invite visitors as well. And so that's where it all started, was with the mixed age and 0 to 5. Like, I've had babies in there 2-3 days old. It's the coolest thing. So that was where it all started, was this mixed age class. And then from there, I moved into a babies class, which is babies under 8 months. And that class is different only slightly because I'm able to give the parents lots of research about what's happening with their baby developmentally. Whereas with the 0 to 5 group, I have to keep things moving because the 4-year-olds will have your head if you don't start singing. And so then it went to babies. And then I added a class called Rhythm Kids, which is for kids from 4 to 7. And it really helps to solidify like a foundation in musical knowledge. So we start to actually identify what we're talking about. So in the 0 to 5, we're exposing them to different cultural music, different tonalities, different rhythms, different patterns, but we're not telling them what it is. We're not labeling it. We're just doing it. And they're learning through immersion. Whereas with the 4 to 7, we start to actually label what we're doing, piano, forte, all of the fun, decrescendo, crescendo, all those fun words, we're actually starting to label them. And then my favorite class that we just added is called Generations. And so it is an intergenerational class with our 0 to 5 mixed age combined with what we call our grand friends. So we go to Chartwell Montgomery Village, and not at the moment, but we go to Chartwell Montgomery Village, and we have like this circle of grand friends on the outside of us, and then the teacher and the families are all on the inside of the circle, and we make music together as a group with our grand friends, and it is just like the coolest experience. And we try to, of course, include music that the grand friends will really connect with. We try to do activities that include the grand friends, but keep them sitting and comfortable. And we encourage them to sing. We've actually had a lullaby where the families on the inside of the circle just sat there while the grand friends sang to the families, it was like, wow. So that is, it's slightly moving past that question, but I'm particularly sad to not have that class happening at the moment.
I can so totally understand that. It just brings just tears of joy just hearing about it and just picturing what would be happening. So let's talk. Obviously, the pandemic has completely affected your business in a way that you can't have these groups. You can't have these, these instances where everybody and their grand friends are sitting and singing and participating together. So let's talk about how your business had to change.
So it really went on its head, I would say. It's a totally different beast now. There are good and bad that come with that change. So we obviously went completely online. So I created a private Facebook group where everybody could come onto the Facebook group. And in there, we can share pictures and we can share videos of our children making music at home, or just even what I call parent ed moments, which again are those developmental milestones that are happening with the children and how it's affecting their development in childhood, which is probably my favorite part of the program, is the fact that it is based on. Anyways, so I really love this Facebook group because we do these Facebook Live classes. And so it's basically like this. And I perform for the camera, and then it goes directly to Facebook Live. And people can add their suggestions and they can give me their ideas. And then it stays there. So if you weren't able to catch it live, you can watch it later. So some people have really active children, and I always tell them in class in real life not to worry about their child wandering. And even we try not to let them run, only because it's a safety matter. But in terms of wandering, it's fine. But all parents are so worried about their wandering children. And at home, they're not worried. At home, if the kid leaves the room, they pause it and they can come back on later. And if their child loses interest, no worries, we'll try again tomorrow. There are some really wonderful aspects to it in that respect. Also, the main goal when I have people in class is to get them playing with music in their everyday lives. So we have it without getting on my soapbox, but we have it in our heads in North America, especially, that only the talented people are allowed to make music. The average Joe is not allowed. And that is the most ridiculous rule, and probably the coolest, best thing that I have learned in my Music Together journey is that music is for everybody. And if I can help somebody engage in music making, then I've won. Then I win the game. So, and even like, I had one dad for the longest time that came to class, and he sang loud and proud and completely off key. And he was my favorite because I was just like, this guy gets it. This guy really gets it. Like, music is not about being good at it. It affects us all. And especially at a time like this, I feel like it's a really important medium for us to be participating in, because it releases all sorts of happy hormones. And we need those happy hormones, not just the kids. Like, we're not talking about just this 0 to 7 age group that I'm sort of targeting. Everybody needs that. And even for me, after I teach a class, I feel like I can breathe a little deeper and I can survive my day a little better, and everything just seems a little less scary and difficult. So so that's really become my focus, is helping people to, which is my focus in class too, but this is cool because people are already in their homes. So they're already there. So teaching them how to make music a part of their daily lives almost seems a little bit easier if I can keep them engaged, which is a big if, because I know for me, I would like to put my child in front of the TV and go make dinner. Like, that's what I want to do. So the hope is that I can engage the parents enough that they're staying with the child and participating in the class with the child. That's the real goal, is to try to keep the parent engaged. The child's easy, but the parent is the real trick, because I know it's a tough job with me. So that's become the real focus. And recently I have discovered the beauty of pre-recorded classes, because what I can do is I think just today I posted one of me, our bedtime routine. So I sang through our bedtime routine. So I took my girls and we did brushing our teeth, getting our jammies on, reading a book, blowing out the lights, saying goodnight. And it's all fake. And it's so funny because my girls had a blast doing it. They thought it was so much fun. But I thought by doing it pre-recorded, I could piece together these bits of life where you can actually use music to help you. Because I don't know if anybody else suffers with bedtime, but bedtime is particularly tricky for me. And so singing through it really helps a lot. So yeah, that's become the overall focus of being online, is to try to get people music making in their own homes, in their daily lives.
And I think that's so important, especially at this time. And I think you answered, 3 of my questions right in there. Because
I'm so sorry.
No, that is okay. We're here for you to provide the information. So it's a lot easier. And you say it so eloquently. So we talk, just the importance of music in everyday lives. And I don't think people realize it as much. And I think because of where we are right now, people are starting to realize that they need a different outlet, a different channel, whether it's just putting on some music and dancing around the house, whatever it happens to be. We encourage you to do it because it will lift your spirits. Just sing along, while you're making dinner, instead of having the TV on, put some music.
I always ask people, can you sing in a bad mood? And I really hadn't thought about it. But my daughter, one day, my 6-year-old, we were driving in the car and I was just in a snit for whatever reason. I can't even remember why. And she was like, Mommy, sing along, sing the song. And I was like, I can't, I'm too angry. And I was like, it was that moment, this big aha moment where I was like, oh my gosh, it's impossible to sing when you're in a bad mood, when you've shut down emotionally, you can't do it. So it just goes to show you how music is happy medicine, and we all need that, especially right now. When I think of the Great Depression, that's when they came out with the shtick of who's on first and what's on second, and vaudeville was big, and all that escapism, and Shirley Temple and all of that happy stuff came out during the Great Depression because we needed to escape. And it's just so important for us to have those tools for ourselves to be able to deal with everything that's going on around us, myself included. This is totally self-serving, I'm not going to lie.
Well, the thing that I love, the one thing that you said that I absolutely love, is that you don't have to be a professional to sing and participate and get joy from it, because I could not carry a tune if you asked me to, or even showed me how to. But I will belt it out. Let me tell you, my boys in my house just roll their eyes because Mom's doing it again. She's dancing down and singing, and it just you can't stay in a bad mood. You can't. It's just automatically uplifting. So let's talk about. We've got a few minutes left. So let's talk about. I believe you have something that's coming up online, a summer program.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
So I have decided for the summer months that we're going to offer music together for free. And I'm really excited about that because, as I said, I really think that we need to reach as many people as we possibly can. Also, I don't know about other people, but for me, my purse strings are closed. I'm not spending money anywhere that I don't need to, and rightfully so. We all need to be very careful right now, and so if this is something that I can do and have it be stress-free and have it be uplifting and help people survive the day, then that's a wonderful thing. And I think the more people we can reach and help through this time and create the community, because also when we're so isolated, and that's what I was going to say about the Facebook group. I love the Facebook group because it creates this community where people are like, oh my gosh, I know that kid, and look at them dancing and drumming in their living room. Or, oh, I know that kid, or I know that mom, and oh, I'm going to message her and see how she's doing. It just creates this wonderful, cohesive unit that we are all missing right now, and the kids too. And something I've started to incorporate my girls in the videos, and I've realized how important it is for kids to see other kids kids are missing other kids. So I just thought, if this was something that I could offer for at least the summer, I thought that would just be the most wonderful thing. And it took me a bit, but I figured it out. And I'm really, really excited about it. So we're just on Facebook. I also post on, because not everybody's on Facebook. So that's sort of my main, where I post the videos, but I've been posting them on unlisted YouTube playlists so that people can find them, and they can find the videos based on a class type. So we have the babies class, we have the mixed age class, and then we have rhythm kids. And so those are all under different playlists, just so that it's easy for people to find the ones that they're the most interested in. And YouTube's nice and easy because you can get it on an app on your Fire Stick or on your Apple TV or whatever. So YouTube's nice and easy that way. But the reason that I love the Facebook group is because then it allows people to reciprocate and post back. But I really invite people to share that Facebook page, as even the YouTube links. The only reason they're unlisted is for licensing purposes and for copyright. So that's why they're unlisted. But that doesn't mean they can't be shared and shared and shared and shared and shared. It's just something I have to do as a licensee to cover my tracks. So that's why that's a thing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, congratulations to you, and thank you for providing such an amazing class and for so many people. And we hope that you're all out there going to join in and sing along and play music and dance in your own homes. Pam, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you spending the time with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tina.